in the kitchen with me. But beer bread is delicious, and if you've never had it, you definitely need to try too. But I just realized I forgot the number one ingredient, which is the beer. So let me go grab that from the fridge. I'll be right back. We're going to fix this too. There we go. Today's beer bread brought to you by Busch Light. Thank you, Busch Light. We appreciate you. You helped me make my bread. Okay. So now we're live. Sorry, guys. Still getting used to this whole Facebook Live thing. But again, we're making beer bread, and I'm using my good old standby Busch Light today to make it. So I've included the link for my beer bread, and I'm going to put in the comments here too, just so we've got it. Really easy, one bowl. I've already started. 3 cups of flour right in here. Then we go to baking powder. We don't use baking soda on this baby, just good old baking powder. And it's going to be 3 teaspoons of baking powder. And I have no idea how old this thing is. My mother got it from Pampered Chef probably 20 years ago or so. This house here is just full of all the odds and ends that when they bought the lake house, they said, okay, we got to throw some stuff in there. Let's see what we got that we got extras of. We also have a bigger one that goes up to a tablespoon, not just a teaspoon. So 3 teaspoons of baking powder tossed in there. Next, that's a little bit more salt than I expect to come out there. That's some on my shoulder for my homies. Teaspoon of salt. I learned how to bake from my grandma, so I eyeball. Toss that in there. And then last but not least, we're going to do a 1/4 cup of sugar. Stick around, get my sugar. Put it in. So I just put everything into the bowl. Sorry, I'm doing this on my computer, so bear with me, please. And then I just mix everything up because I don't have a sifter here. If I had a sifter, I would get all my ingredients in a bowl, like a smaller bowl than this, pop the sifter right in here, pour the ingredients in, and sift it all together. But since I don't have a sifter, we're just going to have to make do with this. Let me clean this up a little bit. And yes, I'm one of those annoying bakers who, as I finish everything, I put it in the sink, package it back up, try to put it away. I like a clean kitchen. That's just me. You don't have to do so. So next step, really easy. Where's my butter? There's my butter. Open the can of beer. And then we're just going to pour it right into the bowl. And I make a little well with the flour and the baking powder and the sugar and salt. Make a little well. So I pour the beer into my mouth. Tastes good. So I have a little well, and then I'm just going to slowly mix it all in. And we're going to see if I can do this with the computer. And I hope I'm not making you guys too sick. But now it's just mixing time. It gets very foamy because obviously beer. But the foam is what's really going to help this rise because, as you can see, there's no yeast in this recipe. And I have a big 25-pound bag of Walmart flour in the basement and no yeast in this house. So when I want fresh bread, I can either use Miss Amy from over at A Farmer's Kind of Life. She has a no yeast bread recipe. I haven't tried it yet. It's on my list. I think I'll try it at some point next week when I'm back up north. My husband is on his way down to pick us up today. I haven't seen him in 7 weeks. Little man's excited. I'm excited. My husband's excited. He'll be here probably till Sunday, and then we'll drive back north. It all depends on if he took his parents' van or if he took one of our cars. If he takes his parents' van, we'll be going back tomorrow. Just bring them their vehicle back. Now, when you're making this dough, it is a very dry, thick dough. But that's because there's not, the only liquid in it is the beer. So don't be shocked when you're mixing it and it's just this big, huge lump of everything. There we go. See, nice and thick. And the good part is you don't really have anything that sticks to the bowl. Next step, loaf pan. You can grease it. When I first started making this bread, take a lot of butter, grease it, get in the corners, throw in the bread and the butter. Oh, thank you, little man. Give that to Mama. Somebody found an incense stick. I didn't know my parents had incense. Where did this come from? Patchouli. No, you can't have that, baby. But now I'm a big fan of parchment paper, so I just throw some parchment paper in here. And then when you take your clothespins on the side, it really helps it so you can actually get everything in. This doesn't keep your pan from not getting condensation or anything on the bottom, because when you do pull it out, once your bread is done, the pan will be a little wet with some, just a condensation. It might be a little bit greasy from some of the butter that goes in here, but it's so much easier to clean when you don't have everything else in there. So, bread dough right into the pan. Get it in there. And again, because it's a thicker dough. Oh, someone's climbing into his car seat. We got his car seat in here because it rained overnight, and we'd had it in one of the ATVs yesterday because we were going on rides, and little man got to go to the dump with his papa. He likes to talk to the guy at the dump. So we always buckle him up into his car seat, whether it's the two-seater, the side-by-side, or the big 6-person guy. For that one, I put him in the back center just because safety first. And I've seen a lot of people driving around on the trails up here with their kids just sitting on their laps, and they're going at breakneck speeds. And that's just reckless. And even well before I thought I'd be having kids, I kept saying I would not ride around with my child on my lap. My child will always be buckled in. I mean, if we're just going from the garage down to the fire pit, I'll throw him on my lap or buckle him in on the passenger seat, but he's usually completely locked down. Okay. Bread in the pan, as you can see. Kind of. There you go. It is, because it's so thick, it's hard to really spread out in there. Just do your best. I used a finger to kind of push it down. And now you get your butter. I used to do a half cup of butter, but since I've been using the parchment paper, that's just way too much butter. And somebody is singing in the background as he's marching around backwards. He's a silly guy. Hi. So now you just take the butter and you're just going to pour it over top of the bread dough. Hey, little man, you got to be quiet, please. You just pour it all over your bread dough. Get it all out. And it's going to settle in all the nooks and crannies in there. And what the butter does is it really gives it a nice crisp crust. I like to take it, once I get it in here, I can get rid of these guys. That one's going to get washed because I've got some bread dough on it. Once I get the butter in, I just tilt the pan around to make sure that everything is covered as much as possible. I mean, there's going to be some peaks on here that aren't going to be covered, but you do what you can. And now I'm going to pop this bad boy. Let's get that little bit of butter over there. This guy's going to go in the oven, and it cooks for an hour at, 375? 375. Preheat your ovens. Always preheat your ovens when you're doing this bread, because it just doesn't turn out if you put it in before it hits 375. Learned from experience a long time ago. When it's done, take it out. If you're using the parchment paper, let it sit for a few minutes, and then you can just parchment paper up, put it on a cooling rack. You're going to want to get it out of the pan as soon as possible, just because if it's going to sit in there and your bottom's going to be soggy. And if you're a British baking show, British Bake Off fan, you know Paul Hollywood says no soggy bottoms. So you don't want soggy bottoms on your bread. It's going to smell up so delicious in your kitchen. Like, I love the smell of baking bread anyway, but when you get the beer added in there, it's a completely different smell if you're used to yeasty bread. So I'm going to go pop this in the oven for the next hour. And then I'm going to make little man some chicken nuggets for lunch. And we'll be having some bread in an hour. I'll check in when I take it out and I'll show you guys what it looks like. So I hope you guys check out the recipe. I hope you like it. If you like this video, thumbs up. I'm going to see if I can save this and put it on my YouTube channel. But also keep an eye on the YouTube because I don't have anything on there this week, but next week I'll have something. Take care, guys. Bye.